Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be doing something a little special and joining in with the rest of the movie collector community and talking about some of my favorite movies from the year 1984. Welcome once again, my name is Austin and this channel is all about helping you to dig deeper and go further to better understand faith and film and everything that's in between. If that sounds exciting to you, make sure you click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any future content. With that out of the way, Ken over on the MidLevelMedia channel has been doing themed months so far this year, and this month I wanted to join in with a bunch of the community as well as him, and this month is 1984 month, and upon looking into some other people's videos, including Ken and other channels as well, and my own collection. Though I love the 80s, and 1984 specifically, upon looking it up, was a phenomenal year for movie releases. In my personal collection, it was a bit of a gap, so I started filling it in some, getting some movies, and then watching other people's picks for their favorite movies from 1984, found some other movies I'd like to add to my collection. So in this video, I'm going to share my 5 favorite movies from the year 1984. Starting things off in the 5th slot, we have the movie Gremlins. Now, Gremlins is actually a movie I only just watched for the first time, I think in the past year or so, not too much longer than that, and I really enjoyed it. It's one I'd never seen before, and really enjoyed especially the practical effects that they utilized for the movie, and the creature work, all that kind of stuff was really well done. I actually recently just picked up the movie for my own collection, and I've not yet jumped into the sequel, The New Batch I think it's called, but I'm really excited to because I've heard good things about that one as well. Next, for my 4th pick, I'm going to go with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Now, the Indiana Jones franchise, aside from the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, is not one I had seen at all up until maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I went through the trilogy for the first time, and I was really surprised by it. I had always thought that they were kind of like fun family adventure movies from like the 80s and 90s, but turns out they're like very dark at times, and they get very violent at moments as well, but they're really well done with excellent practical effects. I really enjoy the character of Indiana Jones, especially in the Temple of Doom. It's interesting that we kind of jump back and get a bit more of a prequel of his like early days as a treasure hunter. I still think I like the 3rd one best of all the movies. That's why it's a little bit lower on my list, but nonetheless, I still really enjoyed Temple of Doom for what it was, and think it's definitely one of the best movies to come out of 1984. Next, for my number 3 pick, we're going to go with Streets of Fire. Now, in Streets of Fire, a man returns to his hometown to rescue his ex-girlfriend from a biker gang. There's nothing quite like the 80s, and that was such an 80s premise, but it's also just a pretty good movie. I really enjoy the music alongside this one. It's heavily rock and roll utilized. They use a lot of rock and roll music throughout the film, especially that opener is one of my favorite songs probably to come out of any 80s movie. I listen to the soundtrack to this movie all the time and really enjoy it. Diane Lane plays the ex-girlfriend, which I had not seen many movies from that kind of point in her career, so it was cool to see her kind of at a younger age. And then Willem Dafoe plays the lead of this biker gang, and again, he's not someone I had seen many of his older movies either, and I really enjoyed him in that role as well. So there's good performances throughout the cast, the music is really entertaining, the action is pretty good as well, and it just screams 80s, this movie. So I really enjoy this one, and it takes my number 3 pick. Next, in the 2nd slot for my favorite movie from 1984, I'm going to go with A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, A Nightmare on Elm Street is a horror franchise that I just got into less than a year ago. I got into it last summer as a number of the movies were streaming somewhere on some streaming service, I don't remember, but I watched the first 3 of the movies so far, and especially the first one, which is the one obviously that came out in 1984, I really liked it. I thought it was really great. I wasn't sure kind of what to expect. I knew Freddy Krueger was, you know, one of the big guys along with Jason and Michael Myers of kind of the big slasher icons from the 80s, that kind of thing, and wasn't quite sure what to expect with this one, but I really liked it. I thought the themes, especially when it came to facing your fears rather than feeding them, was a really interesting direction to take with this one. I didn't find the movie necessarily that scary because I'm a full-grown adult, but I did really appreciate especially the themes that they chose for the movie, the story that was told. I loved the practical effects that they utilized for this one. Some of the best special effects that I've seen in a movie from the 80s for sure. This is definitely a movie I'd love to add to my collection. Haven't done so quite yet, but I did continue throughout the franchise. Thought the second one was okay, and I did really like the third one as well for people who are curious. So that is my pick for my number 2, and we're gonna move on to my number 1. Now, finally, for my number 1 pick, I'm gonna go with The Terminator. Now, I definitely love The Terminator, despite T2 often kind of taking over the spotlight and leaving the Terminator kind of in the shadows a little bit. The Terminator is still a great movie. Even over 35 years later, much of this film still holds up to today's standards. While some of the effects maybe haven't aged great, still overall, we have really good characters, great practical action, and a original story. While T2 perfects what the Terminator started, we wouldn't have T2 if it weren't for this original The Terminator. And still going back to watch The Terminator every once in a while, like I said, it still holds up really well. It's really entertaining seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger in the villain role and character. I really enjoyed that, and just kind of seeing his ruthlessness as that character is really cool to watch throughout. And Sarah Connor, great. And like I said, all of this just starts really well here and is perfected in T2, but that's definitely still my favorite movie, and up until this month was the only movie from 1984 that I had in my collection. So since then, and since watching other people's videos, including Ken and the other people in the community who are recommending movies from 1984, I'm definitely growing my 1984 collection within my personal collection, and I'm really enjoying the themes that we're doing. So thank you to Ken and anyone else who also put up a video that I got to check out this month for 1984 month. I'm looking forward to what's coming next month. I might be able to put up a video of kind of my picks depending on what the theme is for that month, but it's one I wanted to jump into because I really enjoy the 80s despite being a 90s kid, and wanted to kind of get my hand in and give some of my favorite movies from that year. So thank you for checking out this video. I really appreciate you sticking around to the end. I'll see you in the next one.